2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we discuss topics that we find interesting, yet also important, and we share our viewpoints on them, which can be quite interesting. Allison and I have been doing this since November of last year, so in a few months we will be coming up on a full year of having Soul Sunday, and I'm excited about that. I can't hear you. Uh-oh, what's going on? Can y'all hear me? Can anybody hear me?
I can
Allison?
hear you now. Hey, I can hear you now. It was real. I didn't have any sound.
Oh, okay. Well, that is good. I'm glad to hear that. I guess my phone say, "Look, you can only go live so much in one day."
Mhm.
But now that Allison is here, real quick for our replay viewers, if you happen to watch this on the replay, comment your name, where you're watching from, so we can go back and thank you. And also, we can see how far our message is reaching. With that being said, today's topic of Soul Sunday with Ruby and Allison, we will be discussing. Well, the topic is let's talk about sacred energy exchanges.
Mhm.
Sex, 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 sex. Y'all. Anyway, sacred energy exchanges. Let me finish introducing myself. Author of the Goddess Grind book series, which focuses on you becoming the best version of you in order to manifest success personally as well as professionally. I'm a chakra expert and healer. I am a speaker. I am a radio personality with Soul Therapy Radio, which me and Takira just did that show less than an hour ago. Well, we finished less than an hour ago, so make sure you go back and watch that. And we have Allison.
Peace and blessings, everybody. I am Miss Allison Denise, the Petite Powerhouse and Relationship Rebuilder, owner of Allison Denise LLC and 501c3 nonprofit, the HDL Group. The organizations have been designed to show you how to heal, grow, and live beyond that relationship status by becoming better, not bitter, enjoying your life along the journey, and having the best relationships you can, starting with the one that you have with yourself. So I am really glad to be here. I'm a speaker, a coach, an author, a blogger, a radio show personality. And today I am one half of Soul Sunday with Miss Ruby and am extremely grateful and happy to be here and to talk about this topic today. It is so needed.
Yes. Y'all know Allison like talking about relationships, and I just like talking, period. No, I'm playing. I'm playing. We talk about stuff that has meaning, some substance. Hey, Deshaun, Ken. Hey, Bianca. Isis, shout out to you all for watching. David, if you feel anything that we say resonates with you, is beneficial, and you feel someone could use it, please feel free to share the video. We welcome comments, we welcome questions. We're open to all kinds of engagement, such as likes, hearts, all of that good stuff.
Yes. Don't ask
So
us
we,
on though.
huh?
Don't don't ask us if we're single and stuff while we're talking though. We in the middle of our passion right now. Respect the passion, respect our gift. Just putting that out there.
She said it, and I'm in total agreement with it. But like I said, today's topic is let's talk about sacred energy exchanges. Y'all know I enjoy talking about the chakras,
Mhm.
and she likes talking about relationships.
I do.
So, of course, we find every opportunity to put the two together.
Absolutely.
One, because relationships are always a hot topic.
Yes.
And if you're in a relationship of any sort and you're engaging in any type of sacred energy exchange, you need to be aware of what your chakras are, specifically your sacral chakra. So, of course, we know that there are seven main chakras. The second chakra, which is the sacral chakra, is the one that's associated with sexuality, feelings and emotions, creativity, allowing yourself to feel pleasure, pretty much how you interact with other people.
Mhm.
Now, because the sacral chakra is mostly associated with sexuality for women, we have to also think in terms of where our womb is located.
Mhm.
Our womb is, of course, where we give birth, where we spend, there's a lot of energy there. And
Mm-hmm.
if you have a lot of negative energy in your womb, then guess what? Whenever you become pregnant, whenever you are intimate with anybody, that's just negative energy that's being transferred to them. And as they come into you, vice versa. One thing that I do want to kind of point out that I know a lot of people may not be familiar with, especially if you're not familiar with the chakra system at all, is that for men, the root chakra can also be associated with sexuality for men. The reason that is because when men think about sexuality, more so for them, it's about survival. It's about um, building a legacy. It's about continuing that namesake, which is the only way for your bloodline to continue and to survive is to is through your sexuality for you to have children. So because it's considered, survival, then that's why for men the root chakra can also house or be associated with sexuality as well.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for women, it's not so much about survival. It's more so about being the nurturer, being the mom, being the emotional one, raising the child. And that's why most of our sexuality is associated with our sacral chakra. So
Mm-hmm.
before we get too far into that, I am going to let Allison go ahead and chime in about today's topic.
Well, I think we could deal with relationships a lot better. Um, Sex for women, just like Ruby mentioned, when we talk about the womb, you have to understand that just by our DNA, our makeup, the way that we have been created, we are receivers. We are receivers. There's no way for you to get around that. We are receivers. And you have to understand that men, by their default, by their makeup and creation, they are releasers. And so you are basically going to be the receptor of whatever it is that they feel, not just about you, but how they, more importantly, how they feel about themselves, how they feel about life, how they feel about women in general. You are going to be the receiver of that. And so that is why you will see situations where, you know, you may have some guys sitting around talking to one another. Man, all I did was hit it once, and now he keeps calling me. It's because we are receivers. It's because we do have that bond. We do bond with you when that is happening. We have to connect for that to happen. So we have connected. And so I think once women start to understand that men see it as a relief, and I think once men take the time to understand that women do see it as a connection and not use those that knowledge to manipulate one another, I think we can be on a better road to understanding one another in various areas of life. So this is where it needs to start.
I agree. And my apologies about that. I don't know why people be calling me on Sundays from 2 to 3. I don't know. But what Allison was saying is absolutely true. And we have to one understand that with sacred energy exchanges, if you've never done a sacral chakra cleanse, which most people haven't, do you know how much debris and energy that does not belong to you is swirling all up and through there? I mean, just think about it. If you are a woman and if you've only had 5 partners that you've been intimate with, five, and let's say each of those 5 men have had 2 partners. No, let's say they've had five too. That's more than 25 different energies, not counting all of the people that they've slept with, that they've slept with, that they've slept with. But nobody's ever doing a sacral energy cleanse. So now you're dealing with energies and feelings and emotions that might not even belong to you. And if it doesn't belong to you and you end up having a child in the midst of all of this, then that could possibly be moved on to them. And even you yourself can be dealing with energies that of people. Let's say if you're a virgin, you've never slept with anybody, and now you're dealing with stuff, and you were raised well, and had a pretty good life and everything, and it's just like, but what is it? What is that I feel? You could have gotten that from your mom, being in her womb, and all the negative energies that were there, that you spent 9 months, absorbing all of that. And sometimes this is stuff that we don't think about. And we wonder why we have all these different talks about relationships, why we have such a huge problem connecting as opposed to developing attachments to people. Because when you develop, there is a difference between an attachment and a connection. And yes, me and Allison did a whole Soul Sunday on this particular topic. It's been some months ago, yes, but we discussed the difference between an attachment and connection.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, when we begin to become intimate with one another, then it's pretty much, it stems from a place of us trying to attach ourselves to someone as opposed to building a connection. You don't have to sleep with somebody in order to develop a connection with that person. And sometimes with the attachment, it's not always a healthy attachment. Sometimes, just like Allison said, man, if you slept with a woman one time and you like, I don't know why she like that. That's because in her mind and in her womb, which is also the sacral chakra where her emotions are located, she has developed this attachment to you, these feelings. You've left a part of you there with her. So in some sense, you're always there with her. You have to take that in consideration. We all have to take that into consideration and really understand what's going on and make better choices as far as who we decide to be intimate with, who we decide to share that energy with, and stop just being reckless.
Mm-hmm.
Allison?
I agree. I do believe that they're on both ends. I believe that men do know that there's a connection. I believe that women do know that they're going to bond. But where I think we get it mixed up is we don't look at the whole picture of responsibility. We look at the part that's easiest for us to handle. And so there are some men who, they like the idea of having a girl whipped. They like the idea of having her waiting around for him and always wanting to be there. They like the idea of that because that gives them something to feed their ego with and something to talk to their boys about. But you're not understanding that as you are spreading your seed or whatever, sowing your oats, whatever people want to say, what you don't understand is that there are implications. There are things that you're not taking into consideration that will come back to either haunt you or maybe your offspring. If you decide that you don't want to learn the lesson yourself, you may have to watch your offspring deal with your bad decisions and your irresponsible behavior. Sex is not just sex. We can't just look at it from the side that suits us. And I'm speaking to my men and my women. Men, we get that you think that it is a physical release. We get that you, even down to cheating, we get that you say, well, I can sleep with another woman and cheat. And I know that it's not right, but it's not that I had any feelings for her, but that doesn't matter. To the person that you're with, she sees that as a connection and a bond that she's only sharing with you, and to her that's special. And so when you go ahead and share what she thinks is hers with someone else, she's not going to see it the way you see it. And a lot of y'all know that because when a woman cheats on you, you won't forgive. And the reason you won't forgive is because you know that a woman won't lay down unless her emotions are involved. So my brother understands that she's not laying down with you unless her emotions are involved. And you have to
Right.
be just as respectful of that in her direction as you would want her to be if she ended up meeting temptation. And so the same thing for my sisters. You have to understand that you are connecting. All of this, I'm just going to do what men do. You're not genetically programmed to handle it. You can't. I don't care how many
Right.
times you've cheated on. you deciding that you're just going to go out here and have sex for the sake of having sex, you are going to pay for that long before they will, because you were not genetically created to handle all of those different spirits, all of that different energy, all of it. You can't be a user and a nurturer. And by nature, you are
Mhm.
a nurturer. So if you decide to go against your own nature of being a nurturer, you are internally, voluntarily destroying yourself from the inside out. So we just have to be mindful of both ways of thinking and how the other side is thinking so we can make more responsible decisions.
Girl, I just absolutely love doing these Soul Sundays with you because you just be talking and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna talk about this next, and you just conveniently, so we can keep going. But thank you all for tuning in to Soul Sunday with Ruby and Allison. We are discussing sacred energy exchanges, sex, pretty much. Um, so if you have any questions, comments, you want to send us some likes, some hearts, share the video, we welcome it all. Negative vibe, I mean positive vibes only, no negativity. Duh. But of course, with what Allison was saying about the energies, we did a whole show on energies, actually a couple of them on divine feminine and divine masculine energy.
Mm-hmm.
I have to tell people we each possess both male and female. The only difference is female primarily, utilize the feminine energy while males primarily utilize the masculine energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so if females are here and males are on this side, in order for us to meet in the middle, we have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
That's why women have to learn how to utilize that masculine feminine energy. I mean, that divine masculine energy, and
Mm-hmm.
men have to understand how to utilize their divine feminine energy.
Right.
When women utilize their masculine energy, then that puts them in the place where they can understand how a man thinks and how a man operates. So that sometimes you can't be so feminine that you can't understand where he's coming from,
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa. Men, y'all got to be in y'all feelings at some particular point so you can understand how women feel.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And understanding that this exists might keep you from cheating. If you were to, before you really got into it, like, whoa, wait a minute, how would she feel about this?
Mm-hmm.
Because of course she's gonna feel some type of way.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just exactly, Sharon, it's called balance.
Yep.
And it's just like, how would she feel about it? And
Mm-hmm.
just like women, it's just like, okay, if I were to sleep with someone, I already know that I have feelings for this person. But let me just be like, okay, if I didn't have feelings for this person, would I really want to sleep with them? And be like, no, the only reason I'm doing this is because I have feelings. And your feelings you should be able to control your feelings and not the other way around. So if you can separate and say, even though I feel you that way, this still not right. And men, if you can get to the point where you can say, you know what? If I was asleep with you, that don't mean I care about you, but I care about this woman that I'm with. Then we can meet in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
and one doesn't necessarily have to cheat on the other. Or even get to the point where just go separate ways. And then you ain't even got to worry about cheating in the first place, do you? Pretty much. But yes, like Sharon said, it's called balance. When
Mm-hmm.
you learn that you consist of both divine, feminine, and masculine, and you learn how to utilize them and when to utilize them, because some of y'all be utilizing them energies at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
When your man is like, look, being logical about things and you over here being emotional, but it's a situation where you need to be logical, I need you to, meet him in the middle and be logical. Men, when she's being emotional and she has to be emotional in this situation and you over here trying to be logical, no, you need to come over here and be emotional with her and y'all work this thing out.
That's right.
Like, it's balance, period.
That's right.
Alice.
Two examples where you can start practicing this today. Women, when you're going to talk to our brothers, use less words. Men, when you go to talk to our ladies, use more words. And so this is what I mean by that. Sometimes men are really quick to say we talk too much and they zone out and why she got to say all this and why she got to say, okay, so here's what you have to understand. This goes back to being willing to understand the differences between us. Women talk for you to get to know them. They talk for you to understand. And we talk because at the end of the day, if we care about you, if you're the one that we want in our life, we want you to get us. We want you to understand us. And we want to know that we've been heard. That's one of the biggest things that we want from the person that we're with. We want to know that we're heard. We want to know that you understand us, that you respect our feelings, that you're willing to listen. Having said that, ladies, also understand that sometimes we do talk too much. So even if it's a situation where you need to write down everything that you say and then maybe learn to cut it in half, how, you see what I'm saying? How can I get all of this to him? How can I get everything that I want to say so I don't go back and say, dang, I forgot to say that? How do I get all that out in fewer words? And you also want to practice doing it without being super emotional. Get your point across. Make sure that they understand. If you're angry, make sure they understand that you're angry. That doesn't involve yelling, though. It doesn't involve emasculating. It doesn't involve that. You can make it clear that you're upset without immediately putting your man on the defensive. Okay? Flip side, brothers, if a woman is coming to you and letting you know that she's hurt, you immediately crawling back into your defensive mechanism and deciding to just meet her with logic is adding fuel to the fire. Now it's up to you. You can decide that that's completely the way that you want to handle it, but understand, again, you don't outrun what you put out. You don't outrun karma. You using logic after being told several times that sometimes you need to be more emotional, that is now you being disobedient to the universe, and the universe will always win in making you figure out that you need to make a change. So go ahead and talk. Let her speak. If you don't like the way she said something, you don't tell her that by shutting down. You don't tell her that by going out and doing the one thing she just told you hurt her. How could you? That's just hurtful. So make sure that you're using more words with her. She may come and say, you know what? I'm tired of you always working. You working all the doggone time, and you never talk to me, and you never do this. Don't play the well. I'm the man. I'm supposed to pay bills, and there's a bunch of other women who would appreciate a man who works so hard. Don't know. No.
Don't go
Turn
there.
around and just say, okay, you need more of my time. What can we do? These are the hours I'm working and why. Do you want less? I'll take off less time if you want less. If you want more, what can we do so that you don't feel quite so neglected? It's really that simple. I just said it in 2 seconds. And a lot of times we have these arguments as men and women. We have these arguments that last days and days when they could be over in literally 2 seconds if we would talk less, and if you brothers would talk a little bit more, it'd be over. Let's not focus so much on vulnerability and being weak. A lot of men hear divine feminine energy, they automatically push it aside and say, well, no, because I'm a man, and that's gonna make me a punk. No, it won't make you a punk. It'll make you balanced. It'll make you balanced. And regardless of what you've been told, regardless of how many of your friends tell you otherwise, you need balance just as much as we do. And sometimes if you bring balance, you will put that balance, because remember, sex is an energetic exchange. You bring balance, you might balance your woman out.
Right.
Put that out there.
Y'all know sometimes when y'all be like, man, she tripping. That's because she ain't had none.
She ain't had none. Calms her right down, don't you? Just saying.
Charlie says, but some women do way too much. Yeah, women do too much sometimes, and that's why they gotta find balance, because they be doing the most. And like Alan said, men don't be doing enough. It's not to say that's a bad thing, especially if you're not aware of it. But have to find balance.
And go ahead.
Good idea. Write it down. Then Charlie says, that sounds nice, but like you said, emotions come into play. Emotions, you're supposed to be emotional. That's why you have them. You don't have two eyes to only use one. I'm just saying. Emotions have a place in your life,
They do.
and you have to learn how to effectively manage them. You are supposed to control your emotions, not let your emotions control you. That's
That's
where
right.
people have an issue and then say, well, I don't want to be in my feelings. No, you don't want to be in your feelings because you don't know how to control them. If you knew
Exactly.
how to control them, you wouldn't have a problem.
Exactly.
He says she knows my buttons and pushes them constantly because you let her. If I don't work, no bills would get paid.
Well, okay, so Charlie, I'm just
So,
gonna step in. So here's the thing. You're still there. So, and I'm not saying that to upset you, but what I want you to understand is this is what some women, and I'll put myself in this category. This is something that we deal with. We end up meeting you after you've given years to a woman that you say is driving you nuts. You give her years, and then you come out with this 9.8 on a Richter scale of tolerance. You're already at 9.8, and every other woman after her has zero point 0.2 worth of leash in terms of tolerance. So if you don't work, the bills don't get paid. Is she sick? Is there a reason she can't work? Did you tell her in the beginning she didn't have to, but maybe things have changed and you need her to step up, but she won't? She pushes your button. Okay, I get you may have told her your buttons and she's pushing them. Have you made the decision to respond differently? Have you made the decision to tell her you're no longer going to tolerate it? Have you spoken to her about the fact that she's out of line? Have you asked her, are you looking at a pattern? Is there a reason she's pushing your buttons? Is it the same time of day? Is it the same time of week? Are you not hearing her when she's not pushing buttons? Is there a potential chance that she has come and tried to talk to you, but you're not listening until she acts crazy? Are you teaching her that that's the only way she's going to get your attention? I'm not saying any of this is what you're doing. What I am saying is, I hear everything that you're saying, but what I have noticed 10 times out of 10, y'all complain about women that you don't lead. So it can't be that bad. Do you want her to get better? She feels like a man is supposed to provide. Okay, cool. She
wait,
feels like a man.
Allison, wait, Allison, go back to his comment for that. He said, to me, there will never be balance. He or she who has the goal make the rules.
So if you feel that way, then you don't need to be in a relationship. Because here's the thing, I pull my own weight. I pay my own bills. When I have a hard season, if I happen to ask my man, and I'm really bad about that, I'll probably won't ask my man for help until I'm almost about to be homeless. But you can best believe I have thought everything through, and I don't see a man as a paycheck. I don't see a man as someone who is supposed to do anything for me. I see him as someone who is supposed to be his best self, who will allow me to be my best self, and who will be okay with me challenging him and knows that I'm okay with him challenging me. May not necessarily be what I want to hear at the point, but if I need to hear it, that's the kind of man I need in my life. If you believe that the only thing you bring to the table is money, you ain't bringing nothing. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful to your profession, to what you're offering, but here's what you got to understand. A woman at the end of the day, a good woman at the end of the day, needs more than what you would do if she wasn't there. Unless you can tell me that you would be homeless if you weren't in a relationship, you'd be okay being homeless, you'd be okay without a job, you'd be okay with bad credit, you'd be okay with no lights, you'd be okay with no food. You working just means you are taking care of yourself. A
Mm-hmm.
woman wants to know, what are you going to do to show me that you're glad I'm here with you? Because you would work if I was gone. You would pay your light bill if I was gone. But if you're running around thinking that the only thing that makes you in charge is your cash flow, you already putting a woman. One minute you said she believes a man is supposed to provide, but then the next minute you're saying that the one who provides it runs the rules. No, there's no emotion in that. There's no balance in that. There's no respect in that. So if you keep thinking that you're coming forward with your money, you're going to keep running into gold diggers. Not saying if your woman is or not, but you're going to get what you use as bait. You're going to catch that. That's what you're going to catch. What else do you have to offer? Are you kind? Are you loyal? Are you considerate? Are you faithful? Are you understanding? Do you remember birthdays? Are you affectionate? Do you do these things? Do you understand what the woman you're with now needs in terms of affection? Do you do that? That is your value in a relationship, my brother, not your paycheck. And if the only value a woman is telling you is your paycheck, you with the wrong woman. And you need to ask yourself why.
Okay, he says, I've been in this for over 20 years. Let me
See?
say this. Let me say this. We, well, one, me and Allison have these conversations because they are not had enough from this perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, when we have conversations such as this, we're either playing the blame game or pointing the finger.
Yep.
And continuing to do that, we see has clearly not gotten us anywhere.
Nowhere.
We have the point where we start being accountable and setting some boundaries. Because the only reason you're dealing with what you're dealing with is because you're allowing it. And the reason you're allowing it is because at some particular point, you may have felt like it was okay. You may have felt like it was the right thing to do. You may have felt or thought at that particular moment that was the best thing to do. But if that particular thing stopped being the right thing to do at that moment and you didn't stop it, or you didn't say anything like, hey, this is not working anymore, maybe we need to revisit what we've been doing to see how we can get better, then you can't expect anything to change. And when we're in relationships, just because it started out real good does not mean that's how it's going to be the whole relationship. You have to continue to evaluate yourself, evaluate the relationship, see what's working, see what's not working, make changes. And it's a never ending cycle of doing these evaluations, making sure you're happy, making sure you're in a good place, making sure you can deal with who this person is now and vice versa. Because the person that you were when this relationship started should not be the same person that you are now. And yeah, you can say, well, she this, she emotional, she all of this, she do this, she expect this, and this is what she say. But we need to know what Charlie thinks. We need to know what Charlie is doing. We need to know what Charlie, where Charlie fits into this. Because pretty much, if you keep saying she, where do you factor in at any particular point in this?
And money does
Uh,
not make relationships go round, Charlie. That's what you're choosing to believe. And I don't care how many women you've met who have said that, who are validating your mindset. I am telling you, as a grown ass woman who has never looked for a man to do more than he can, that money is never going to be more important to someone who just wants you. It's never. It is never going to be more important. I have dated men who had their own businesses. I have dated men who worked in warehouses. I loved them both the same. I treated them both the same. I was faithful to both. I was honest to both. I was loving to both. I was affectionate to both. I gave massages to both. I made sure I remembered birthdays for both. It wasn't about money. It was their character. It was their heart. It was me seeing something sometimes in them that they didn't even see in themselves. That
right.
is what a relationship is made of. Anyone who's telling you differently has bought into the lie, is watching too much TV, is listening to too much of the wrong music, or they just decided that since they're making a lot of cash, that makes them top dog. Stop believing that nonsense. Because what's going to happen? What happens if you end up getting hurt, Charlie? What happens if you can't provide? Do you want that to be the moment that you realize that you just spent 20 years with a woman who only wanted you for your money? Is that the time that you want to figure that out?
60 hours who has no friends and who does everything for his home.
Your
That's
life
what you're
ain't
supposed to
balanced.
do.
Your life ain't balanced though. Why don't you have friends? Why don't you have a life outside of
Are
your marriage?
you happy?
Are you happy? Are
Are you
you
at
happy?
peace?
Are you living your best life? If you die today, are you silly? Or if you know you got 5 minutes before you leave this world, will you be happy with what you've done? Or will you wish you had done something different? Stop talking about her. Are you happy? Do you understand that your money is not what made you valuable, or is that what you believe? Is that why you're working the 60 hours? Are you with a woman making you think that unless you bring home a particular paycheck, you're not worthy? You with the wrong woman. I don't care if it's been 2 decades. You're with the wrong woman.
And keep in mind that by her saying that, she is in no way saying that that woman is bad. She's not
No, I'm
saying
not
anything
at
negative
all.
about the woman.
No, no, no. Charlie,
I mean
you,
about you being
what
an
are
adult.
you saying? I don't
I'm
care what she
oh,
says.
no,
Because
he was
here,
talking about me when he said that he works, he's a loving husband. You're
yeah,
supposed to be a loving husband. That's
yeah,
what
you
you're
are
supposed
supposed to
to
be.
be.
That's great.
I'm not
Are
saying
you
you're
with?
supposed to work 60 hours a week, but you're still supposed to work, be a business owner, do something.
And
And
that's
I'm
cool.
not saying you're supposed to work to give her your money.
I
Don't
know.
effective communication. Let me just clear that up. And I'm not saying that you're not supposed to have any friends. You're still supposed to have a life. And understand that with me and Allison, which you probably, I would suggest that you either probably inbox Allison. She's more experienced. This is her, her niche that she works in. But definitely do not think that we are attacking you or that you have to be defensive.
Mm-mm.
We don't even know you, but we still love you, and we're still going to speak life to you regardless. You don't have to belong for us. You don't have to belong to us for us to speak into you.
Nope.
And that's probably what you have not experienced. If you've been with her 20 years and you've never heard this before, then that's probably because nobody is speaking life into you. Nobody is speaking love into you
That's
because they
right.
don't care. I know
Charlie,
if I stopped working, she would divorce me.
and you
That
are with
should
a woman.
say so much to you.
You are with a woman who wants a paycheck. She doesn't want a husband. And keep in mind, I don't know her side. If I hear her side, there might explain a lot of other things that you're feeling. But just based off what you're saying, if you know for a fact that you're only with this woman and she would divorce you if you stop working, you have made the decision to spend 20 years with a woman who wanted a paycheck. I need you to hear that. You made the decision to spend 20 years with that. Do not justify it by saying money makes relationships go round to make you feel better. As long as you're breathing, you can do better. As long as you're breathing, you can have better.
Right. And
As long
Allison, I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you right there.
okay.
Charlie, inbox Allison. Inbox Allison. Don't send her no peace queen, none of that. Just say, hey, that she know who you are. Just inbox her
Just
and y'all
inbox
can continue
me.
this conversation further.
All right.
But thank you everybody for tuning in to So Sunday with Ruby and Allison. And Charlie, we definitely appreciate you for your input, for your engagement. We value you. We appreciate it.
Please
But
inbox.
we gotta, yeah, inbox her, but we definitely have to stay on topic today, because Dante said, hello, what's the discussion about, ladies? Today we're actually talking about sacred energy exchanges. And we have to realize that with sacred energy exchanges, it's just not about the physical aspect of sex, but the mental, the spiritual, the emotional, and everything. Um, Charlie, it's still okay for you to comment here. That's fine, but just make sure that once we're done, that you reach out to Allison. But to
I'm
she
Allison. I'm Allison Denise Charlie. Look me up under Allison Denise.
yeah.
Send me a
And then
friend
if
request.
anything, she can comment. She can just respond to your comment, and you can just send her a friend request or go to her page and send her a message. But with the sacred energy exchange, of course, we were talking about how for women, for the most part, the sexuality and emotions and everything are most associated with the sacral chakra, whereas for men, sexuality is more associated with the root chakra. One thing that I have noticed that with the root chakra, for us, most of us are underactive in that area. And of course, the root chakra is our survival chakra. That's where we get our ideologies about surviving, living life, financial information, information pertaining to sex. So if you were a child, of course, as children, parents don't actively just have this conversation about sex because they don't want you out there like that. But I think the conversation really needs to change from a physical thing to more of the mental and emotional part of it, and then segue into the physical, because we know that sacred energy exchanges are not just physical. And if you're more responsible and more careful about who you connect with intimately, because well, I don't know all of this, all of the details of this particular person's life. I don't know what their mental and emotional state is. I don't know what things they're dealing with, and I don't even know if they have made the decision to start healing from it. I don't know if they're toxic. I don't know if they're any of this. If you don't know that about a person, then for one, you shouldn't be sleeping with them. But if you know that you need to find these things out before you take it to that physical level with them, then I think we would be more conscious and more careful in selecting who we sleep with.
Mm-hmm.
Now, keep in mind that also means that you can't ignore red flags. You know, I'm not saying red flags, well, because I see on Facebook, women, how long do you think you should wait before you sleep with somebody? And men, how long do you feel is a good time, before she sleeps with you and you think otherwise? Y'all can sleep together on the first night or a year from now. It don't matter. It really does not matter. I'm just saying. Now, I'm not saying just go out there and be sleeping with folks on the first night, but if we focus more on the connection and not so much on the attachment,
Yep.
then that connection alone is going to tell you a whole lot. A whole lot. Allison?
The best way I can sum this part up is nothing Ruby and I say or anything that you hear resembling what we're saying, nothing will take effect until your spirit is more important to you than your orgasms. It's just not. As
Mm-hmm.
long as you continue to deal with a guy that constantly disappoints you, constantly mistreats you because it's the best sex you've ever had, as long as you continue to keep running back to the same woman that only calls you on payday and only wants you when she's not dealing with her husband or her other boyfriend, as long as you keep dealing with that because she gives the best head that you've ever had, you're never going to put your spirit first. And you're constantly
Mm-hmm.
making your spirit vulnerable to pain, to frustration, to mistreatment, to discouragement. You're going to find yourself going downhill, and you're not going to figure out that the only thing that you would have to do to feel more life is to simply be more focused on your spirit connecting to the right people. Don't let sex
Mm-hmm.
even be a main focus. That should be on both men and women, should both think like this. Does this person deserve my sexual energy? It should really be that simple. Let me find out if this person is worth my sexual energy. And when you
Right.
start to think like that, you bring a level of self awareness, self love, and discipline that will keep you from making the decisions that your genitalia might make that it doesn't have to live out the consequences of.
Right.
Think about it that way.
And not only that, if you have an idea of what their energy like, do you even want it?
Yes, that part. That
Because
part.
I trust me, it's some energy, a lot of energies. I just be like, reject, ignore. It's just like, no, I'm just not even gonna go there.
Hmm.
But thank you all. Thank you all to everybody that's tuning in to Soul Sunday with Ruby and Allison. We are discussing sacred energy exchanges, and I'm pretty sure we will have a part two.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we will continue this on Tuesday with Soul Sunday Reloaded.
Yes.
Um, so instead of me and Allison just doing this every Sunday, now we do it every Sunday and every Tuesday.
Hmm.
So if you want to catch part two of this, make sure to tune in on Tuesday. But Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we will continue this conversation and have a part two.
Hmm.
Because like I said, me and Allison can do a lot of talking, but we only got an hour. We can't talk that long. We gotta go do stuff, like she gotta go take care of her son. I gotta go eat, stuff.
Okay, let's talk about that. Yeah.
So, I kind of want to get to the part of the converse or the part of the show where we actually do our question of the episode. because it changes every episode. Um, and you, like I said, y'all, I apologize to kind of cut the conversation short, but y'all got to just pick it back up with us on this coming Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But this part of the show is pretty much where I ask a question and I repeat the question twice. Then I answer the question, and then Allison gives her answer. And if anybody else wants to chime in with their answer, please feel free to do so below or comment later if you happen to watch it on the replay. But it's just another way for us to be nosy, but in a nice, acceptable way, instead of just girl all up in somebody's business. But the question is, once trust is broken, do you think you could ever get it back 100%? This is the card and this is the question. Once trust is broken, do you think you could ever get it back 100%? And I'm going to answer it first. I look at trust like most people probably don't look at it. Me, I don't put my trust in nobody. And the reason that is, that's just like I'm pretty much giving another person too much power of any sort. So what I do, what I put my trust in is myself. I trust myself to be completely aware and completely aligned with who I am, what it is I need, what it is I expect. And in doing that, I trust my intuition. I trust messages that I receive. I trust when I feel that somebody isn't for me, and I trust when I feel that somebody is for me. And at that point, if I feel like they're not right, then I'm going to go with that. If something tells me this is not the right person for you, I fully go with that. If I go against that trust and be like, oh yeah, come on into my life, and then they do something to me, it's not that I lost trust in them or they lost, the trust that I gave them. I didn't have that trust in me, because if I would have, then they wouldn't be there in the first place. So with me, I can always put trust in myself 100%, even if I just happen to miss something or don't quite get the message. And it's just like, why is this person even here? I'm not gonna get upset with myself and get mad at me and be like, me, Ruby, you know better, you do this and blah, blah, blah. I don't trust you no more. First of all, that's crazy. That's just not even, just like, but I'm me though. Who am I not to trust me? So that's my answer to the question. I trust me. I only put trust in me. And if I lose that trust in me, I always get that trust back in myself 100%.
All right, so I have a different approach. So when the answer that I have to the question, the short answer is it depends. And so for me, when I think of trust, I don't necessarily put the trust I have with myself and think about that in terms of dealing with another person. My mindset is, if I walk around not trusting in anybody, then there's no point of me having relationships, period, romantic or otherwise. And the reason I feel that way is because if you don't give a person a chance to establish that you can trust them, like my best friend, I've known my best friend since I was 5. I trust her with every single thing that's going on in my life. Sometimes I wait a while to tell her because I want to isolate or whatever, but I do tell her everything. I trust her with my thoughts, my actions, my life, everything. But I wouldn't have that connection with her if I decided I didn't want to trust anybody. That's my mindset. And so, having said that, if she were I'm not going to speak that because the universe listens. What I'll say is this: if someone has shown me that I gave them the opportunity to prove whether they could trust me or not, or that I could trust them rather, if they have given me the opportunity to show me that I cannot trust them, the reason I say it depends is because, let's just say I tell them I spent $5 on something and not to tell anybody. They go out and tell somebody. That's not really going to be detrimental. It just tells me I can't trust you with that little secret, so I just won't trust you with anything else. That just puts you a little further out in my circle. Now, ex-husband, however, I walked down the aisle, said I do. At the end of it all, he tried to kill me. I know he snapped. I know it was out of his character, and I have forgiven him. But will I ever be alone in a room with him again? Hell no. Never. And it's not just because I'm scared of him, it's because sometimes you can really be done with something, but when it's in your face, you don't necessarily know how you'll respond. I don't want to end up being the one to catch a case next time out of anger that I'm thinking is gone, that's really not gone. You see what I'm saying? So I say it depends. If it's a small thing, it may just be a situation where you just need to let that person know, I'm disappointed that you did that. It's going to take a while for us to ever get back to where we were. But there are some instances where you just have to say, you know what? It's going to be best that we're not even in each other's life again. And so you have to determine what extreme it's going to be for you. What degree of trust was broken, and do you even want to establish it? It's not that it can't be. Do you want to reestablish it?
Right.
So that's my answer.
So, for those of you who need me to repeat the question, wait, let me go back and get my little card. Once trust is broken, do you think you could ever get it back 100%? So if you want to chime in with your answer, just comment below. Hey, Malcolm. Hey, Marquise. Sharon says yes and no. So we thank you all for your engagement, for your input, for the likes, for the love, for the laughs. We appreciate it all.
We do.
We got 7 more minutes. We could chit chat just a little bit longer.
All right.
So,
all right.
let's see what we gonna talk about. Oh yeah, we still gotta, close out the show. So that's probably gonna take up the other 7 minutes. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, like I said, Allison and I have been doing Soul Sunday since November. The first show was November 15th. And when I started it, I didn't know how long we would have these conversations, but we've been having them 97% of the time every Sunday since then. And we have talked about a number of different topics: entrepreneurship, energy, recharging energy, effective communication with self, effective communication, period. We've talked about becoming your own companion, what to do during a breakup, what not to do during a breakup, the chakras and mental health and relationships. We done talked about so much stuff. Do y'all realize how much y'all have missed with me and Allison just on here, just talking, just going back and forth, just being us and doing what we love?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I know y'all not finna scroll all the way back because I post a lot. I'm not even gonna lie, I post a lot. And I know y'all don't want to go through to try and find, Soul Sunday videos. But what y'all can do is go to my YouTube channel, because I transfer all the videos from Facebook to YouTube, and they're all in a row. So you can watch all of them. We've had well over 30 shows, over 30 hours of discussion and talking and everything. So definitely make sure you go back. If you want to watch past shows, if you've enjoyed this one, definitely go back and watch this one. We can never just run out of stuff to talk about, because it's always something to talk about. Hopefully we don't want to get to the point where we get so redundant, where we fall into talking about the same topics that everybody else is talking about, but making the same points, saying the same things. That's not what we're here for. That's not what we want to do. What we want to do is pretty much just talk about things that most people really don't talk about. If we happen to talk about the same things, hopefully we talk about them from a point of view that's different from most people, or we provoke thinking.
Yeah.
That's pretty much why we're here. Allison, any kind of last words before we do our little outros?
Yeah, it's like Ruby said, and I want people to understand, I'm not sure if Ruby gets this or not, but people who finally meet me, they're like, oh, you're not as hard as I thought you were. I thought you were mean. I'm not mean. I'm not heartless. I'm not cold.
Wait. I am kind of mean. Hey, it is what it
is. Well, I'm not mean. I'm not cold. I am passionate, because I'm somebody who has had to really rebuild herself more than once at the hands of people who were broken and decided to break me while I was trying to help heal them. And I know that pain. I know that frustration. I know you get sick of starting over. I know sometimes
Mhm.
it looks like it's better to stay in a bad situation than to try to figure out how to start over again. I know all of those feelings. And so when you hear me, it's that passion because I'm on the other side. It's not always fun. The darkness can get really dark. But if you keep choosing you, if you keep choosing you, it does get
Mhm.
better. It may not look the way that you hoped it would, but it does get better. And that is ultimately what I want people to understand. The person that broke you does not have to be the last person that you love. You don't have to keep
Right.
breaking the people after them. You don't have to keep pushing people away who are trying to love you because they see more in you than he or she did. You don't have to keep doing that. It really is okay to let that hurt go and embrace somebody else. And there's a path that you have to follow to get there. That's what you're hearing when you hear that passion because it can happen.
Right. Thank you. Freddie, what time do y'all start on Sunday? On Sundays, we start at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central Standard. And then on Tuesdays, it's 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Standard. So we will be continuing the conversation we started today, which the topic was let's talk about sacred energy exchanges. We
Mm-hmm.
will continue this conversation on Tuesday. Um, Sharon said, y'all don't seem mean to me. Our job is to wake our people up. Right. You gotta
Yeah,
have these conversations one way or another.
we do. We do.
So thank you all for tuning in. I'm Ruby D, the Goddess Entrepreneur, author of the Goddess Grind book series. If you want to purchase the book, I actually have two out right now. The first one focuses specifically on the chakras. The second book focuses specifically on universal law.
Mhm.
But if you want to order the book, I have paperback as well as ebook on www.thegoddessgrind.com. You can find me on Instagram at Ruby D Artistry. You can find me Soul Therapy Radio, which be sure to go back and watch that show. That was from noon to one. That's a live video as well. My guest was Takira, Lil Sis. You can find me on Instagram, Soul underscore therapy underscore radio. Have y'all spoke about how we can wake our people up from this slumber? That's a topic. You know what? With that particular topic, you can't just say, I want to wake our people up because we sleep in so many different areas. I can't wake everybody up in every area. Allison can't wake everybody up in every area. It's just, we do what we can with what we got and what we know about.
Mm-hmm.
So, and me and Allison, we prefer to do Soul Sunday and talk about the topics that we talk about. Um, but
Generals, putting that out there.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Instagram soul underscore therapy underscore radio, and on YouTube www.youtube.com/Ruby Davidson. Allison.
What's up, everybody? Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us today. You can reach me on Facebook under Allison Denise. You can also find me under our new pages, Allison Denise, aka the Petite Powerhouse. That's me. And 501c3 nonprofit page, the HGL Group for Heal, Grow, and Live. You can also find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter under Miss MS Allison Denise. And don't forget, guys who are in the Charlotte area or willing to travel, you can meet me in person and enjoy a 2-day event with me October 19th and 20th of this year, Charlotte, North Carolina. Tickets are available now as we do When Worlds Collide Part 3. So I'll put details below.
Thank you guys. We love you all. Mwah, mwah, mwah. We appreciate you. We love you. And we'll see y'all on Tuesday. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Peace.